Here's my growing Easter basket collection, which I store in the basement each year. But this year I have decided that I am going to reuse them in a way that's decorative. So I have created 3 different sized braided Easter eggs to make a really cute decoration. It's giftable, it can go anywhere in your house, and it just looks really pretty. And it's using reused items such as water bottles, scraps of fabric, and if you have any of those plastic eggs that also kind of accumulate with your Easter baskets, I'm going to use them as well. Right now I've cut 3 of my strips and I am ironing and trying not to burn myself as I fold over the edges and just press them down before I run them through the sewing machine. I want the edges to be clean because it is a decoration, something I'll keep for a long time, or something that's very giftable, and you don't want to have these ragged kind of threads going out. Alright, let's do a little posture check after all that ironing. If you were like me, you were doing a ton of ironing, and people around your house are like, yo, you were doing a lot of ironing, but like my shirts look the same. But you know, that's the way it is when we're crafting. We just get into our project and we keep going. So right now, I am going with the sewing and sewing my strips so they're nice. So when you're ready to braid, I just take a safety pin and hook it to something that isn't really going to fall down, or that you can get a little tension from. I do a nice tight braid. I'm sure you all know how to braid. If not, probably find a video on braiding. And I start to braid. The one thing you should keep in mind when you're braiding, and I'm doing it here for demonstration purposes, but usually I'll stand like in front of my closet or something where the strands can just hang down. It makes it easier to keep them untangled. I like to keep a second safety pin close by because when I get done braiding, I'll safety pin the bottom so that it stays together, and then take it to my sewing machine and zip the ends through the sewing machine. Okay, so now we're going to look at the structures. These are arranged from easiest to more difficult. This one I made out of an Aquafina bottle. I had to cut off the top drinking area, which that's what makes it difficult because I was like sawing. I had to saw that off. And then just put the top dome part with the very bottom, cut out the middle, and put a little packing tape on it. Now this actually came from 2 drinking bottles. These little like 12-ounce bottles are so much easier to cut through. They're using like 30% less plastic now. You can just zip around that with an X-Acto blade. Again, stick them together so you can see the drinking area was on both the top and the bottom, put together with a little bit in between. That's pretty simple. Now this egg is something that was given us to last year. I had it in my Easter baskets. It came with chocolate in it, like, I don't know, Reese's peanut butter cups or something like that. And then the last one is your typical little eggs that you buy and put the quarters in for the Easter egg hunt. So we're going to be looking at using one of the larger bottles. If you did your braid with the 1 to 1.5 inch strips, this braid works great for like the Spider-Man size eggs. If you had the bigger like 3-inch ones, you get a thicker braid, obviously. And that's what we're going to use to wrap around the larger ones, egg templates made from the water bottles. And then the little guy here, I say little guy because if you have a little guy working with you and you want to do something, an easy little slip knot in a thin ribbon or a piece of yarn, they can make that little slip knot braid and then wrap it around with some Elmer's glue, and it works perfect on a little egg like that. So easiest to a little bit more skillful, but I got my secret weapon here, my glue gun. and we can get started. Wrapping them around, from here it goes pretty quick to get your braided. Now before you start, one thing I do is I try and push that first coil in under itself. And I'm actually going to put just a dab of glue there to hold it down before I secure it onto the top, just to kind of stretch it on there and get the motion started before you start to coil around. Now I'm just finishing up the Spider-Man egg, and it's really good to, once you just kind of zip a little bit of hot glue around, you want to just make sure that you're pushing your braided pieces into the row before it so that you don't have any gaps. And you can see it is looking pretty good.